What's up, guys? Rhino here. Hope everybody had a very good week. Today I just wanted to go over and talk a little bit about some of the upgrades that I've done to my Axial SCX24 deadbolt. I've had this car for about probably about 3 months now. The first things that I upgraded as far as electronics, because I had to, because stock electronics just went out on it, would be the servo, which I just went with one of your standard 9-gram Metal Gear servos, and it seems to be holding up just fine. The motor. The motor that I have in here currently right now is essentially it's the Barrage motor. I think this is the RGT specifically, but it's essentially the same size and power motor, I believe, or at least I've been told, and it's about twice the size of the stock motor. Of course, we had to, on the motor plate, the motor mounting plate, you had to drill the holes in the opposite directions around. Basically, the motor mounting holes were in the opposite areas, so you have to take the motor plate out and drill those holes out. But other than that, it's a really easy mod, and it just drops right in. The ESC is the stock ESC and RX, and the only thing I changed to it was take the case off and waterproofed it with conformal coating, and then we just hot glued it to the chassis, and then we just hot glued another servo on top of that. And this servo is for the winch. It goes right there and all the way down here, and then out the front here, and then it'll come out right here. It's hanging down here right now, but yeah. So that's the only thing as far as the electronics that we did. And then we added our giant battery, so it added a bunch more weight, but it is extremely top heavy. I kind of like it. It seems like, to me, it drives a little bit more realistic, and the shocks kind of move in a more realistic fashion, in my opinion. And I like this setup. And plus, this battery gives me like 3 to 4 hours runtime, so I am charging my batteries like once every week or two, you know, so it's really nice. And I just leave my ESC turned on, and then I just plug it in to turn the car on. Then we added this power cable so that I could use different kinds of batteries other than just a 2.0 pH connector, which is the standard connector that comes on the stock ESC. So I made that. Basically, now I can 3 different types of batteries as far as connection goes, if I need to. So as far as electronic performance parts, that's it. The rest of the performance parts is all mostly in weight. And on the actual car itself, the only things we have done in that sense is some DIY stuff and some store-bought or aftermarket parts. But the first things you can probably see here are these copper tubing that I put over the links. And that, originally the idea was to use brass, and that was to kind of help with them looking or appearing metal instead of plastic, as well as adding a little bit of weight in the lower end of the car. But whenever I went to go get these, I couldn't find any brass ones, so I just went with some copper. So they don't really add any weight, or not enough at least. They just kind of just look good, and maybe, I guess, offer a little bit of protection, although you don't really need the protection, because the types of plastics used in the plastics in these are pretty durable. So and then right here we just put 2 bits right here to add more weight to the lowest part of the chassis as well. And those are just held on there by magnets right now. And that's, like I said, that's just for weight. I know it looks awful, it's really ghetto, but I don't really care about that. And then back here, same thing here, it looks really bad, it's ghetto. It's just a bunch of washers that I glued together and stuck on the back of the rear diff. And I made sure that whenever I mounted it, that I set it up higher than the actual diff, so that if it does get caught on things, It's less likely to be because of this hanging down, and more likely just because of where the gifts naturally sit. Painted the bottom plate, side plate, or skid plate, whatever you want to call it, silver. Kind of just looks gray, but and then more of those on the front, shorter lengths, and then for the front is where we have most of the aftermarket weight parts. And first one would be the Trial diff cover here in the front, and then our brass steering knuckles, of course, and those are KYX, while the brass wheel weights or wheel hubs are also brass, and those are the Machete wheel weights. I'm not sure what brand they are. They're just cheap $15 weights that came with all four, but back, since I'm using the Trial hubs, those other ones won't fit with these on, whereas in the front they did fit with those as well, which I was really pleased that they did. I was worried that they weren't going to, because I wanted as much weight in the wheels or in that area in the front as much as I could. Then we have some hot glue areas here, and that's just where I've added fishing weights and stuff, and those I had a lot more in there. I'm slowly taking them out piece by piece as I'm adding aftermarket parts to replace that, because I do care overall about the looks and the tackiness. But originally I was trying to get it weighted down as much as I could without spending any money whatsoever on it. And I think I definitely achieved that, and now I am starting to feel like I want to put the money into it because of the parts that I can get. They just look so much better, and they look way more scale all around, and they're just really nice. So that's all we've really done to the car. Not a lot, really. We did a magnet mod. The only difference in the magnet mod that we did is that on the back we left the hinge and we added magnets to that, so the whole thing can come off, or you can have just the front and have it, swivel, which is cool. And so we'll go ahead and move on to the body. Body is not really that important, to be honest, but it's more of like preference and trying to make it look the way you want it to. And for me, I with this whole car, I wanted it to be as real scale as I could get it. And although it probably isn't quite there yet at all, but it's getting there, and it certainly is a lot compared to what it was stock. So we'll start with the paint. We didn't do a lot of paint. We did not paint from the inside. We did not take off any of the stock paint from the inside of the Lexan, and that's probably why some of mine looks the way it does, still shiny. Which, I mean, to me, if you're going for something like what I am, which is a rugged, outback, jungle, trail truck, then chances of your truck remaining to have a shiny or slick finish is probably little to none. So it's not really realistic in that sense as far as the paint, in my opinion, and I might do something about that later. But for now, I just added acrylic paints on the outside of the Lexan on top of the clear, so some of them appear as if they're almost like sitting on some sort of glass. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, so we did some mud splatters, and then random metal, silver scuffs and tarnishing and things like that across the body in certain areas. We kind of touched up an outline of the doors to kind of accentuate the lines and the detail on the doors. Of course, we put the giant Trial decal on there. I thought it looked pretty fucking cool, going across the hood like that. And then we painted the roll cage up to kind of look like it was a metal roll cage that had been painted black, and all the black paint is all scraped and grinded off of it now. But yeah, and then for the top we added this thing, and it's just plastic stuff, basically like a Lexan material. It's out of GoPro packaging, plastic from GoPro packaging, and then we zip tied it on there in spots to make it look even to where it's supposed to be on there, and it's like factory, that's what it's supposed to look like. It also kind of takes the shape, you can kind of see the roundness of it, takes the shape of the cage. And then we added door handles with aluminum that is just a little bit thicker than like cocaine or something, so it's a little bit more hardy, but you could use cocaine just as well. And then same thing for the step sides, we used the same aluminum. We also used the same aluminum for the piece of rusted wavy sheet metal in there, as well as the rear bumper like thing we have. And then let's see here, that's all for the aluminum. And then these accessories and stuff, so this little bucket is the only one that I've bought. I just painted it silver. We got that at Michael's. And we got a little bit of chain here that's held by the magnets inside the vehicle there. The magnets, or the chain, I don't really know what the chain's for. I guess it's just some random scale size detail. I don't know. And then this I made out of solder, and it just kind of essentially made it look as if it's like a roll or a spool of like some metal cable wire or something. And then we have a little bitty bundle of rope there. We took the little driver head or helmet out of the front because we have a camera in there now, and we just set that back there as like an empty helmet. And then right behind that is the bedroll, and for the straps on the bedroll we just use orange wire. And then there you see our bundle of firewood, and same with the straps or bands around the firewood. We just used black silicone wire. And then we made a axe out of one thickness, or one layer of thickness of a credit card. And the gas can, we did the same thing, but it was probably like 4 or 5 layers of a piece of a credit card, and then I just kind of shaped it into the shape that I wanted with the Dremel tool and carved an X in it. And then for the cap we used a larger size of silicone wire sleeve, and then put a piece of the credit card, a little tiny circle of the credit card inside that, so it looks solid. And yeah, and then some cabling, some of that cabling just going right here, I don't know why. And then as well as some, I put like a wire that would come down here, and this is just one of those like twisty tie wires. And I put that there just to kind of look like there's like some sort of cable or electrical wire or something for his, I don't know, whatever in there. And that is pretty much it. Of course, the cage on the back, just some sort of like chicken wire type stuff. It's not really chicken wire, but it's similar. And that's pretty much it on the body. Added some lights there, and the placement of the actual light bulbs gets blocked by all the things inside the car, so it doesn't really act as a underglow. Acts more as just kind of like lighting up the inside of the body. It's kind of cool, but I keep it to where it's plug and playable easily, so I don't have to use it all the time, because it's kind of just one of those just for show kind of things. And then we have our cable that's coming from our camera that allows us to directly plug in different batteries, so it's not running off the same battery. And this way you can just use like 1S batteries or something. They're much cheaper, and you can get 20-30 minutes off of a 300 mile 1S, so it's plenty. Yeah, that's it right now. You see the magnets there in the front. Magnets, yep, just put them where the posts are, or where the magnets are on the posts, or where the posts were. Yeah. I had to re-glue these because they were coming off, but yeah. sweet. I love this thing, man. I love it, I love it, I love it. And then we usually will run, for weight performance, I run this because it's heavy. I just set it right there on the magnets, and then I use this to mount my GoPro because it looks cool and it works. It's just one of those added things that you see other people doing on their cars, you know, for like a tow strap or something. But yeah, I love this car so much, and I love how realistic it is for how tiny it is. This car is tiny. I mean, like, it fits in your hand. That's how small it is. So for it being that small, a desk crawler, essentially, that's what I kind of call these, because that's how big they are. It's very realistic. The way it moves, the way things articulate and actuate on this thing is really cool and impressive, and just really neat that they can make a car this attention detailed in this form factor, in this size. I'm totally impressed and blown away, and I am a huge RC crawler fan now. So I'm not just a drone guy. I like the crawlers. This is the only one I have. It's a totally different build. So
ladies and gentlemen,
this is my first real crawler, and I love the scale, the size. Super easy and fun for indoors because you can crawl it anywhere, fits anywhere. It's really cool. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I just wanted to talk a little bit about my stuff and just kind of talk about the upgrades and modifications that I've done to it over the period of a couple months, 3 or 4 months. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this.
I just be creating, yo. I be creating.